Hail Internet, it's Paul, it's Matt, the Dork Lords. We are here today talking about Episode 4, Season 1 of the Disney Plus Star Wars show, The Acolyte. The episode entitled, Day. We open with Kelnaka on Kofar, peacefully spending his last days. Though it was incredibly obvious, I did mat him in this episode, so I'm going to give myself a modicum of credit. I was like, episode 4, he's going down. All right, there you go. Anyway, interestingly, in his abode, he has drawn a montage of symbols used by the Coven that was destroyed 16 years earlier. One of those symbols is the one that's drawn on the twins' mother's forehead.
Okay.
I'm not sure what that means, but somehow he's still connected to that stuff. Sure. We then go to Coruscant, where Osha is trying to bail out of the story. She's like, my job's done, proved my innocence, see ya. Shortly thereafter, Saul brings her back into the story to help him confront May. We end with the appearance of the masked dark side force wielder. He or she casually force pushes Osha to the side before force pushing the onrushing team of Jedi.
Sure.
May watches on from inside the now deceased Kelnaka's dwelling.
Sure.
There we go, rolling credits. All that said, Paul.
Yes.
What'd you think of episode 4?
It's still at the 5.5 level. There.
Yeah, it didn't have the kid actors, so on that way, it's I think an improvement over episode 3. So, but yeah, I'm kind of in that 5 range essentially. Yeah.
The dialogue is just letting me down again and again and again. No hint of subtext at all. Everybody's pretty much, saying what's the top of their mind or whatever. It was frustrating to me. The dynamic between Osha and Chimere changed.
May, right?
May and Chimere, right. Between the last episode and this one changed. It's like if I had to put money on it, and I'm not the type of person who does put money on things. I mean, I typically don't try to outguess things.
Sure. Okay.
And this one.
What are you doing on this channel, Paul?
Yeah, I know. It's like in terms of mysteries and stuff like that, I'm more interested in emotional arcs and things like that.
Sure, yeah.
So where are they going with characters emotionally? So, it's like, who's this guy there? It's like, if it was Chimere, I'd be, okay, fine. It's like he had to sneak off and do special things and have
I would say that based on the text, based on his dialogue, which again I'm not sure that we can count on. I don't have a lot of faith in the writers, but right. I would say that despite their attempts to make it look like, oh well, look, he's off screen and now suddenly the master shows up, I feel like just based on his verbiage, I would say he's not that guy. But
he may be pulling a Yoda.
Yeah, right. So is it possible? Yes. Mine. They've deliberately not given other than the fact that Chimere seems to be more capable than he lets on, and he happened to be off screen, and then this guy showed up while he was gone. Other than that, they're not giving like big clues. So my best guess as to who the masked person is just someone new. It's just it's a person they haven't even introduced yet. But
yeah, some people suggested maybe it was Vernestra or whatever, and
I've heard that mentioned.
Maybe sure, why not?
yeah. I mean, they're
I don't know. I feel like it's Jedi. They had to establish and someone today suggested that it was the mother. One of the mother that didn't
Coral, the rules bound mother who's like, don't do the thing. Yes, that's I've heard that as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I had to be convinced of what that it means anything at all. At this point, it's like they certainly want to know. I don't care. To me, the important story point, which I hope they can pull off, even though I would I might not bet that they can, is it seems like these Jedi are the one behind the death of the witches of the coven there, and so Saul is actually implicated. Although it's hard to believe that
he's got this line in this episode where he's like, when we get May back to the ship, I'll tell you everything, which suggests that he does know. I thought maybe it was like, oh, this stuff happened around me, but I didn't witness it, and so I spent all these years not realizing what had happened. But that line suggests that maybe he is actually been hiding something, which would be a shock for me based on what we've seen of his character so far. I will say this, you know what? There are people that are excited about the show, and I'm not gonna
good
on
for
their
them. Yay!
We got a friend of the channel, frequent commenter on just wrote in the episode 3 comments, actually said the whole series is worth that one scene at the end of episode 4. And you know what? You got force powers, you got lightsabers, you got cool costumes. It promises to be a cool set piece fight scene. So in that way, you know what? It's delivering.
So is it for the battle to come or just for the force push?
My guess is that it's for the battle to come.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I mean, I liked the first battle. That was, even though they killed, Trinity, They
killed off Trinity. Yeah.
Still, though, that was good there.
Right, the fight with Saul. Yeah.
Yeah.
We haven't gotten much of that since then, right? Episode 3 and 4, have been a little light on that style.
The thing that I could do without is all the. I don't need to see the pre-kinder classes. I don't need to see that.
Yeah.
It's like we got another one. And it's like, okay, we get it. It's a school.
It's right. It's also not just a school. It's like military school. I don't know. They're not just like, hey, here's how you. Here's star charts, and here's where the planets are. And for recess, we'll play kickball. They're like, no, for recess, we will learn sword fighting, and you will fight with precision. And you're like, okay, all right. Anyway, all right. So, but no, okay. This kind of combines the two things of like the fights and the, as you put it, kind of the unsatisfying, uncompelling dialogue. Okay, I'm confused by a particular quote, maybe more than one, but this one in particular stands out. May is talking to Chimere in the woods, okay? And she said, I wrote it down, just so okay. So these are the lines. Talking about the master. He calls it the final lesson. He says your final lesson is one you teach yourself. You will kill a Jedi without a weapon.
Sure.
Attacking a defenseless person goes against everything the Jedi stands for. How do you kill someone like that? Unarmed. It's not a test. It's impossible.
Yeah.
Okay. So based on those lines of dialogue, I'm now perplexed as to what the lesson is. Like, up until now, I assumed, and I still think it's probably true, that the test is to kill a Jedi without using any weapons.
Sure.
But that quote suggests you're supposed to be killing an unarmed Jedi.
Yeah.
You kill a Jedi without a weapon. Attacking a defenseless person goes against everything the Jedi stands for. So in other words, killing an unarmed Jedi, you will basically forever break with the light side of the Force because you killed this unarmed person. That's something Jedi would never do. And so, but as unlikely as that is, because I still think it's probably like you're supposed to kill them unarmed. It's just badly written. It does track with something else that confused me from episodes 1 and 2 in both of those fights with Indara and with Saul. The choreography includes a deliberate slow motion cut of May unsuccessfully, in both cases, trying to take the Jedi's lightsabers. Like she swoops in and you see it slow motion and she tries to grab it and then they do like a little move away. But she's not trying to steal the lightsaber because she just leaves Indara's lightsaber with the body. So it suggests, I mean, if you were to interpret it this way, you would say she's trying to steal the lightsabers to disarm the Jedi so that she can kill them unarmed. Hence, she can pass the test. Okay, it's probably just poorly written, and it's like they didn't intend for it to sound like that. But damn it, if you just say it like you must kill a Jedi without a weapon. Attacking a defenseless person goes against everything the Jedi stands for.
Yeah.
How do you kill someone like that unarmed? It's right. I mean, it's
Sure.
to me that's saying you do this because a Jedi would never do it, and that therefore you prove in this final test you're not a Jedi, you're a Sith or whatever. I'm like, if that's not the intent, surely there was another pass at the script where they're like, okay, let's not confuse the audience with this really stupid description of the thing that's not what we want to say. I'm like, God bless. Anyway, so maybe there's this. That's kind of where a lot of critiques that I've seen of the show seem to be like, hey, look, maybe this is all gonna wrap itself up in this clever bow in the last episode. And I'm very doubtful that's the case. But even if it is, surely you don't spend 7 episodes going like, see, and it's stupid. Oh, but now it all makes sense. So when you watch it back, which you won't because you were really frustrated by the first 7 episodes, but if you did, it would all be cool now. Like, no, that's not a good way to pursue this. So, actually, shortly after that scene comes another bit that I was not particularly pleased with this episode. It's this bizarre turn of May's that's really not earned in the script. I mean...
No, I mean, she was starting to question things before she got to that point out loud, so we could be like, wow, I thought this, but it's not true. I would thought that, and here's the thing, actually, because now I really don't know. I still feel like it looks like all these renegade, or these, all these Jedi came in and killed the people while May and Osha having their little pout fight about the fire or whatever.
Yes,
it
that
still
seems the most
looks
logical
like,
conclusion.
It seems like they killed them all the Jedi. And so you'd think that May would know that, and that's why she's upset, not just because, oh, my sister died, but I don't know anything else that happened.
I mean, I suppose because they showed Osha crawling through this, the secret passage or whatever it was, that she didn't see what happened, and maybe all this time she's been misled in terms of that. But yeah, so like with May, she learned that Osha was in fact alive in episode 2.
So that's really maybe all that she really cared about. It's like, oh, you killed my family, but I wasn't so crazy about them anyway.
Not just my family,
just
my family
sister.
and friends and way of life.
Yeah, sure, and, it's all forgiven. Osha's alive.
But also, even if that was the case, okay, then that would have been an episode 2 change. But here in episode 2, she proceeds to like fight with Chimere, then she uses him as a guide. She flies to Kofar to kill Kelnaka, which is the next on her list. Yeah. She's literally running through the woods to find and kill Wookiee. Revenge! And then seemingly with no further inciting incident, there's no new stimuli coming in, like 10 minutes from Kelnaka's door, they say, she just decides to turn herself in and become a prisoner of the Jedi. Yeah. I mean, it's jarring. It comes out of nowhere. Yeah. It feels like lazy writing. Mm-hmm. I mean, she's been on this sustained path of vengeance. She blames these 4 Jedi for murdering her family and friends. Yeah. If Osha's survival changed her mindset, it would have occurred. What in the middle of running through the woods made her think, oh yeah, having time to think about it, I guess Osha's, that's all I needed. I didn't, the fact that they killed my parents, it's fine. No, she would still have plenty of reason for vengeance.
Yeah, apparently though, I mean, either that or like, I think we assumed that she thought that they killed her family. I mean, did she actually say those words? It seems like that event and those people are involved. You'd think that's why. But maybe she was only really mad because somehow they messed up with Osha or whatever. Who knows?
Well, I mean, let's remember, she stayed on the planet, right? She goes to the tree to find Osha. Yes. So she would have walked through all of the burned bodies of all of her family and friends. They were dead and the Jedi weren't, and the Jedi took off. I would think even if she hadn't seen anything, she would make the assumption, oh my God, the Jedi killed my family. So I feel like what's happening here is I think the show is attempting to redeem May because the writers want her redeemed. It's not really suggested in the story. There's not a redemption arc yet in the story, but they're pushing this idea that like, oh, it's the Master and maybe the Master did. But it's the weird part is, assuming the story goes the way we think it is, and I think it's reasonable to assume that a fight broke out, the Jedi ended up having to, whether it was self-defense or whatever, they killed off this coven and then they set a fire to cover the truth. If that's the case, then who cares if the Master, who was like, oh, and they killed your sister too, so you should give. I mean, like they seem to be setting up that maybe the Master like led her astray, and that once she learns the truth, and then it's all fine then. But I don't think that's where this story's going. And then we have this character. What we've seen of May is she imprisoned her sister. Yes. Set her room on fire.
Yes.
Killed in Dork. Suicided Torben. Tried to kill Saul. Would have killed him if he hadn't been better at fighting. Then rushes to Kofar to kill Kelnaka. So we're not seeing like actually deep down. Okay, so if that's the case, we just haven't seen it, and that's why I think what you're saying is like, where in the story did she have this moment of some realization thing or a soul searching, and there's none of that.
My presumption, maybe I'm wrong, is that guy that trained her, Mr. Hood dude, and said, hey, you got to go kill these people and do it without a weapon. And so she killed the first two, and she used a weapon. So okay, maybe this third one, the Wookiee, maybe she'll do that one without a weapon.
Yep.
But then he kills him? It's like, is that how she does it without a weapon? That the Master comes along and kills him?
I know, which is kind of what I was thinking was going to happen, and maybe it will, with Saul. I still feel like Saul is destined to be killed off at the end of this season.
What seems like this hooded dude doesn't care about having May be the one to take them down anymore.
Yep. I know.
So
here's where I'll assume the story is telling us in this situation. Whether Chimere is the Master or not, he's at very least he's a well-informed minion of the Master, let's say. So, I got trapped, and at that same time, May says, well, I'm going to turn myself in. I'm not killing Kelnaka, and I'm going to tell him all about the Master. Okay, so the Master had to change plans and come here,
Okay.
So that's what I'm getting out of it.
Yeah.
I did like the scene. I liked, again, Saul. I feel like Saul senses that Kelnaka has died. They didn't say it. They just showed Saul looking out into the woods, kind of in the direction of Kelnaka's dwelling, and I think he sensed that Kelnaka had just died because somewhere there's a 10-minute window where he died. So I'm guessing that's what he sensed. I thought that was a good touch, but that means also though that the Master's been following around. It's like, all right, I'm going to make sure you're on target. You decided not to. Okay, hang on. I'm going to get ahead of you. Crap. Let me fly back. Anyway, so the killing the four doesn't seem to matter so much. I don't know. It's tough to know where the story's going, and I don't have the faith that it will be this clever bow that makes it all seem worthwhile.
Yeah.
I should mention something that people are talking about, and it's worth mentioning. Is this Ki-Adi-Mundi appearance in here? So Ki-Adi-Mundi,
yes.
He's they don't say his name, but in the credits it says Ki-Adi-Mundi, so it's him. It's a younger version of this guy who's on the Jedi Council in the Phantom Menace, and he's notable for the quote in the Phantom Menace where he says, "The Sith have been extinct for a millennium." It feels like a major coincidence to have the one guy who references the absence of the Sith in the lore happens to be on this show. I mean, it's a weird correlation if it's just like, oh, wow, look at that. So something's odd there. But I assume, I don't know. Again, I don't know. I don't know the writing or I can't trust it. But is everything just hinging on the term Sith? Like if you'd this exact same dialogue happens in the Phantom Menace, which I forgot how it leads into that, but basically like, oh, the Sith have reappeared.
Right.
If he's like, oh well, there's 50 different cults of dark side force wielders that can use the rule of 2. Some of them way more powerful than these Sith, but I thought you meant Sith specifically, in which case you're wrong. It's been a millennium, but it could be the Soth. It could be the Jedi with an eye emoji. Could be these guys I saw like 100 years ago. Those guys were pretty bad too. Anyway, but no, not Sith, obviously. Those guys, I mean, like, is that what it's pinned on? Or is it like some weird conspiracy to say, like he's part of some conspiracy to say that dark side users haven't existed forever and he's sticking to it even in the Phantom Menace? I don't know. It's a weird, because I feel like in the Phantom Menace, it didn't matter. The word Sith wasn't as important as there are folks using the dark side of the Force and they're killing guys. We should watch out. I feel like that was more important than the nomenclature of, which sect is it? So I don't know if that's what they're hinging on. It's kind of like, okay, sure. I guess.
I don't know. I mean, don't take too many cues from that scene from Life of Brian. Revolutionary, or the.
Right, the People's Front of Judea.
No.
We're the Judean People's Front.
Right, yeah.
Right. So, anyway, it's weird that they put him in the show. That seems intentional. It seems intentional that they put the guy in the show with the line that's talking about the Sith. So I'm just wondering if he has some part to play in some conspiracy, right? Or, I don't know. Anyway, we'll see. We met Basil, the Bloodhound guy.
Sure. Yeah.
Right.
Great marketing possibilities.
Yeah. Yep. New toy. I get a plush. Oh. Yeah. A fairly underwhelming episode in my mind. I guess if the first 2 episodes were flawed but interesting and were setting up an intriguing story.
Yeah.
Episode 3 was a big letdown, and this one really hasn't righted the ship if they're gonna try to do that. So we'll see where they go. Apparently, episode 5 was something that back in the day, before the thing started, Leslie Headland said, "Oh, and this episode 5 is where a lot of secrets get revealed or something."
Good. All right,
we'll see.
Then they can.
We'll see.
Hopefully, it'll make everything fine.
Yep, everything will be fine, Paul. That's what's going to happen. We'll find out next time when we recap episode 5. Also, come on back for episode 2 of House of the Dragon, and we're also doing the Lazarus Project coming out as well. We're just like boop, 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 boop. So anyway, come on back for all those things. Thank you as always, Paul. Appreciate it, good sir. And we'll talk to everybody next time. Bye.